Good evening, I'm bringing you breaking analysis on explosive allegations that have sent shockwaves through Kenya's political establishment today. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has leveled devastating accusations against the current administration, claiming systematic state-sponsored intimidation, abduction, and torture of opposition figures ahead of the 2027 general elections. At the center of these allegations lies the horrific case of Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi, whose ordeal has become a symbol of what Gachagua describes as escalating political persecution. On May 25, just yesterday, Koimburi was allegedly abducted outside a church in Muguta, Kiambu County, in broad daylight. Video evidence shows masked assailants forcing the vocal government critic into an unmarked vehicle while his wife sustained injuries trying to intervene. What happened next reads like something from a horror novel. Koimburi was later found dumped in a coffee plantation, bearing what medical professionals at Karen Hospital confirmed were injuries consistent with professional torture techniques. But perhaps most chilling is Gachagua's revelation that the MP was injected with a chemical agent that paralyzed his vocal cords, rendering him temporarily unable to speak. Blood and urine samples have been sent to private laboratories to identify what preliminary analyses suggest may have been a neurotoxic agent designed to silence him literally and figuratively. The timing of this attack cannot be ignored. Koimburi has been a prominent advocate for the one-term presidency movement, directly challenging President William Ruto's anticipated re-election bid. His abduction came just days after he publicly criticized the current administration, raising serious questions about whether Kenya's security apparatus is being weaponized against political dissent. While the Directorate of Criminal Investigations denies involvement, their explanation rings hollow. They claim Koimburi was under investigation for alleged land fraud and constituency fund misuse, but critics point to the suspicious timing and the sophisticated nature of his torture as evidence of state complicity. The police's suggestion that Koimburi staged his own abduction becomes laughable when confronted with medical evidence of chemical injection and professional torture techniques. Gachagua's allegations extend far beyond this single incident. He claims there's a systematic campaign to disarm opposition MPs' security details, leaving them vulnerable to attacks. This aligns with his earlier claims from May 19 about a killer squad linked to the National Intelligence Service that allegedly attempted to plant weapons in his convoy and poison him with paralytic agents. Today's confrontation with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission reveals another disturbing dimension of this crisis. Gachagua's legal team has exposed what they call selective enforcement of hate speech laws, where government allies like MPs William Kamkit, Oscar Sudi, and Senator Samson Cherargei can openly vow to manipulate the 2027 elections without consequence, while opposition figures face scrutiny for far less inflammatory statements. The constitutional implications are staggering. Gachagua's team invoked Article 33 of Kenya's constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression, arguing that his warnings about potential electoral violence were legitimate critique of governance, not incitement. Yet the NCIC's apparent double standard threatens to criminalize opposition speech while protecting government rhetoric. Human rights organizations are sounding alarm bells. Muslims for Human Rights and the Kenya Human Rights Commission have demanded independent investigations, warning that such incidents risk normalizing political violence ahead of the 2027 polls. Their concerns echo the dark memories of 2007 to 2008, when over 1,100 Kenyans died in post-election violence. Gachagua himself has drawn explicit parallels to that tragic period, warning that his previous statement about 2007 looking like a Christmas party compared to potential 2027 violence was not a threat but a dire prediction based on current trends. His legal team argues that unchecked incendiary rhetoric by Ruto allies, coupled with security overreach, risks recreating the conditions that precipitated Kenya's darkest electoral hour. The government's response has been predictably defensive. Senior presidential advisor Moses Kuria has dismissed Gachagua's tactics as dictatorial, accusing him of using his Democracy for Citizens Party to coerce Mount Kenya leaders. But such deflection fails to address the substantive allegations of state terror. The broader implications for Kenya's democracy are profound. The alleged weaponization of security agencies threatens the very foundation of electoral integrity. When opposition figures can be abducted, tortured with sophisticated chemical agents, and silenced through state power, the line between democracy and dictatorship begins to blur. The use of advanced torture methods, particularly chemical agents that target specific bodily functions like speech, represents an alarming escalation in repression tactics. This suggests access to sophisticated resources and training that goes beyond common criminality into the realm of state-sponsored terror. International observers must take note. Kenya has long been viewed as a beacon of stability in East Africa, but these allegations suggest a country sliding toward authoritarian practices that could destabilize not just Kenya but the entire region. The chilling effect on free expression is already evident. When MPs can be disappeared and tortured for opposing government policies, how many other voices will be silenced through fear? The very essence of democratic participation requires citizens and their representatives to speak freely without fear of chemical injection and professional torture. As we approach 2027, Kenya stands at a crossroads. The events surrounding Koimburi's alleged torture and Gachagua's broader accusations demand immediate action. Parliamentary investigation with international oversight, restructuring of partisan institutions like the NCIC, and comprehensive security sector reform are not just recommendations but urgent necessities. The balance between maintaining public order and protecting democratic freedoms will define Kenya's future. Without accountability for these alleged crimes and systemic reforms to prevent their recurrence, Gachagua's warnings about another crisis may prove tragically prescient. Tonight, as George Koimburi recovers from his ordeal, unable to speak due to chemical paralysis of his vocal cords, Kenya must ask itself a fundamental question: is this the democracy we want to bequeath to future generations? The answer to that question will determine whether Kenya emerges stronger from this crisis or descends into the darkness of state terror that has consumed so many other nations. The world is watching. Kenya's response to these allegations will send a message far beyond its borders about whether democracy can survive when those sworn to protect it become its greatest threat. For Shadowline News, this story represents more than political theatre. It's a test of whether Kenya's democratic institutions can withstand the pressure of authoritarian temptation. We will continue monitoring this developing story as investigations unfold and more evidence emerges. The stakes could not be higher for Kenya's democratic future.